So joining us right now, live and direct from Philly, the new USBA heavyweight champion. Give it up for Steve Cunningham. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, what's up? I'm good.
Good. Thank you for joining us. So we just watched you in your pretty thrilling fight there against Amir Mansour this past weekend. You know, a lot on the line for you going into this matchup. You had a tough opponent in front of you. Kind of walk us through the fight, and then we'll talk about some specific parts of it. Have you looked back at your performance since it's been over?
Oh yeah, I have. I've initially I looked at the fight and I was like, oh man, I didn't like the way I looked, and because I wanted to look, I wanted the sweet science to come out and not get touched and make it look easy, but then boom, fifth round hits. But initially coming out, I already kind of had a feel for Mansour because we sparred a few years ago. But knowing that sparring is sparring, and we believe he's gotten better, so we always know Mansour is a dangerous threat. He's a powerful, stocky guy. He lunges in and make a fight ugly just to get his shots off. And he was doing that, at times. But I felt like the second and third round, I started kind of really getting comfortable and taking off a bit, landing some shots, blocking some shots, flipping his shots. And the fifth round, I was very comfortable. I'm like, man, I can coach like this all night. Bang. I'm on the ground. So after that, I get while I'm down, I'm thinking, all right, cool. I know he's going to be on me 100%. So what I'm going to do when I get up is throw a straight right hand, to let him know I'm still here. And as soon as I got up, the rest of the fight, I launched my right hand, but his momentum didn't care. His momentum just walked right through it. He took my right hand, but it didn't phase him, and he knocked me down again. And I'm like, wow, so I'm on the mat now, and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to go stick to the plan this time. I get up. And when I got up, a few seconds later, the bell rung. So we were, once I was able to get to my school and my corner take care of me, I knew that I was going to be cool because I've been in that position before. I know I have great conditioning and recovery time, recovery. So I knew that I was going to recover and be back in this fight. So now all it took was for me to just stick to the plan. And from round 5, round 6 on, that's what I did. I stuck to the plan, straight right, body shot, off the jab, and thank the Lord we got a victory.
What adjustments did you make? Because in the second round you got a cut, and that came from a right hook, and then the punch that dropped you in the fifth was a double right hook. What did they tell you in the corner to kind of adjust to swing yourself away from the right hook?
Well, that cut, I thought the cut came from a headbutt, but the ref said it was a punch. I've got to look at it again, but
NBC Sportsnet showed it as a punch.
Yeah, okay, all right, it was a punch. So, it was just him, it wasn't nothing that, it was just the way he fights, he lunges in, and I believe I was trying to flip, and I pulled out a couple of times, and it's just fighting a guy like Mansour. He's determined, he's strong, and he's coming full force. So that's always a danger. But when I got back to the corner, we drilled on the game plan for 8 weeks, 7 weeks, and we that's what's in my mind. That's what comes out of Nazim and Buddy Osborne's mouth. This and that, things we worked on in the game plan. You under those shots. They had to remind me, you and under the shots, we're not catching them. And as you've seen throughout the fight, I was making them miss by just getting under, because we knew he was a wide shooter. He shot his punches pretty wide. And at times, right before he launched, you see me launch a right hand straight down the middle because he telegraphed his punches.
Absolutely. Was he starting to gas out? Because the longer the fight went on, the better and better. You look crisper. You're moving well. Was he starting to gas, or he just couldn't adjust to what you were throwing at him?
I think it was a combination of both of them. I mean, we knew that Mansour gassed out pretty fast. Like when he fought the big guy, Kelvin, what's his name?
Kelvin
Price. When he fought Price, he was really tired. But I mean, when you fight these big guys, like I fought Fury, fighting around and wrestling around with them can get you a little more exhausted than you expect to. But we looked at the tape and we felt like, wow, this dude gets tired by himself because he throws these big shots.
Right.
He puts everything on these shots. You know, he's betting the house on them, and that's why when he catches you, you're looking up at the stars. You know, so we're like, you know, the game plan is to make him miss, make him get tired. You know, a guy gets more tired when he throws that shot and he hits nothing. You know, so there was a few times in the fight when Mansour, he threw a couple wide shots at me, and his gloves literally were almost on the mat, you know. And I'm like, wow, this, you know, he's really trying to clean my clock, you know, but you can't blame him. He's trying to win. So with a combination of that and some well-placed body shots and some movement, he really got tired. I think, you know, probably around like the 6th or 7th round, he was really looking tired.
How early could you see the punches coming?
What do you mean, like early in the fight, or like?
No, I mean like how bad was he telegraphing them?
Oh, I mean that's his whole thing. It was like from the beginning, you know, like when it's like he sets himself and his shoulder cocks. It's like he cocks back, then he throws, you know. So it's like, oh, I can see that. That's why I was able to get under so many of them. You know, you can see him. Oh, here it comes, woof. Oh, look at that, woof. But like I said, man, a lot of bigger heavyweights, bigger than me, won't be able to do that, you know, and he'll crack them. So, and I also believe Mansour still is a formidable force to be reckoned with, man. I just can't wait to see his next fight because a guy like that, he learns from fights, you know, and I'm sure he learned from our encounter.
Yeah, you think he could crack Tyson Fury with a big shot and take him out?
With Fury, man, I mean, I don't think he cracked Tyson Fury like I did because I just didn't launch a shot. My shot was calculated, timed, and that's the shot that we trained for in the gym. You know, Nazem said, you're going to knock him down with this overhand right, and sure enough, it happened like clockwork. Boom, bang, you know, so with Mansour, I think Mansour, I don't think Mansour beats Fury, to tell you the truth, because Tyson Fury is in shape big man. You know, I went to camp with him after our fight, and I saw how they work, you know, the cardio he does, and he's just not a big dude like we all thought, like I thought. This dude is in shape, too.
So now that you have the USBA title belt, there are some talks about a fight against you and Povetkin. Povetkin is another fighter that we've seen who's, you know, conditioning not always up to par. We saw in his last fight against Vladimir Klitschko. Klitschko just spent the night wearing him down, just laying on him, wearing him down for the duration of the bout. Looking at your performance against Mansour and comparing how you operated in that fight and taking that to a fight against Povetkin, would you employ the same type of strategy that Klitschko did of just wearing him down all night long?
I mean, if wearing him down is the key, then it wouldn't be me jumping on him like Vladimir did and laying on him. It would be wearing him down by touching him and move, you know, and ring general shit and just touching him in the right spot. But we would not approach a Povetkin fight with the same way we approach the Mansour fight, because they're two totally different fighters. And, you know, my trainer, Nazem, he takes a guy's tapes and he sits and he watches them for days, for weeks, and then, you know, he'll tell me this is what we're doing, this is the weakness, this is the strengths, these are your weaknesses against a guy like this, and these are your strengths against him. We'll build from there, you know. So I wouldn't know, I don't know anything about the game plan. I just get it from the coach, and that's what we go to the gym and do, and work on it.
I got a question about Povetkin. How did main events, think about making this fight? Like, what inspired them?
What's that? What, the Povetkin fight?
Yeah, Povetkin, right.
I mean, this is my first time really hearing it. I mean, I saw something on Twitter, people going back and forth about it, but I know Kathy said she was going to reach out and see about that, but, I mean, nothing solid. I haven't heard anything. But I mean, that's just one of the names that she was looking at, you know. So we'll see. I mean,
but yeah, there's a connection with the three of you and Marco Huck. You know, you beat Huck legitimately. You know, stopped him in what was the 11th round, and 12th round. And you know, he went life and death with Huck and got a controversial decision. So yeah, that's interesting right there. I mean, he would still be the favorite, but you're a live dog.
I believe Povetkin underestimated Huck. I believe Povetkin took Huck light because he looked so bad in that fight. That's the only way you can look at that. You know?
Yeah.
I thought Povetkin was better than, you know, I know Povetkin is a little more decenter than that. So when I saw him with the Huck fight, actually, to tell you the truth, from when I was watching it, I thought Huck actually won. But I thought Huck actually pulled it out, and especially with it being in Germany. But Povetkin got the nod, and I'm like, wow. But I'm like, man, yeah, and Povetkin looked like he was just breathing heavy from like the round 5 or something. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Looking at how busy the heavyweight landscape is starting to get, we had your fight that just took place. The next fight coming up is Stiverne, Areola. Jennings and Perez has been made. Fury and Chisora are going to mix it up again this summer. Starting with Jennings, Perez, I know you and Jennings are both from Philadelphia, so you probably know him pretty well. What would be your early predictions looking at that fight?
I don't know, man. I'm going to tell you, that fight, in my mind and a few other people's minds, relies on which Perez comes to the fight. You know? I believe if the Perez that beat Magoo comes to the fight, I believe it's going to be a heavy night for Jennings. But Jennings has showed that, you know, even in his short career, he's been growing and learning, and that he can weather all types of storms. Fights like this, I don't normally like to pick. I can't pick because, you know, you don't know what's going on, especially when you got a guy like Perez who has a beautiful performance against Magoo, then he turns around and has that performance against, you know, that other guy he had a few months back, you know, that snooze fest performance. So,
right.
You can't really.
Okay, so no predictions. Okay, and then how about the next one we got coming up, I believe it's in May, is Stiverne versus Areola are going to be mixing it up again. Supposedly a new reborn Areola who comes to the ring in shape. What is that fight looking like to you?
I mean, the thing with Areola is, what's in shape. You know, I've heard in shape about him before, and the dude's still flabby. You know, so I can't bet on Areola, you know, because he's saying he's in shape. You know, last fight I wasn't in shape. Why weren't you? You know, what's the problem? You know, this is boxing. This is what we're supposed to do. How do you go to a training camp and you don't get into shape? You know, I just don't understand that. I believe Stiverne's going to win this fight again. It's going to be rougher than it was possibly the first time, but I believe he'll still beat the fight. I think he still wins.
And now, putting yourself into the mix, I'll throw it in there too, Chisora and Fury. Fury being the victor in their first outcome. Chisora also talking about his new reborn focus and commitment to the sport. Does this one play out the same as the first matchup?
I believe so. Tyson Fury can fight, and from what I've seen in camp, he can box when he wants to. You know, Fury allows himself to go into this nutty mindset where he just wants to, you know, go in and big man you, which he's a big man. You know, big man should be able to know how to big man you. You know, just in case they need to. And against me, he needed to, and he did that. I haven't seen too much difference with Chisora, but I think Fury's going to win that again.
All right, I got a question from somebody on Twitter. They want to know if you think Deontay Wilder is the real deal or still, you know, suspect.
That's like it's a kind of a trick question because it's like, is Deontay Wilder the real deal? His power is the real deal, no doubt. But he hasn't faced opposition. I mean, Malik Scott. He fought Malik Scott, who was or is a top heavyweight, or to that effect, and stopped him. But I don't think he's really faced an opposition of a guy that really. I would like to see Deontay Wilder face somebody that hey, this dude might beat him. But you look at Deontay Wilder's power, regardless if he's fighting a Duck, Joe Blow, Malik Scott, he's still super powerful. So if he hits dudes with right hand, most of them are going down or going to sleep. I think he's legitimate. I just think his career, I think he's been hurt by fighting so many underrated guys for so long. I think he should have had a Malik Scott fight or some of the sort, so they wouldn't even have this question over him at all. But I think he's legitimate to the, I believe so. I mean, really, I believe if Deontay Wilder fought Vladimir, if he touched Vladimir with that right hand, we might see a little wobble out of him, so the dude's pretty strong.
Yeah, so there you have, very busy in the heavyweight landscape. The talk has surrounded Povetkin. Who would you want for your next fight?
It doesn't matter. Me, I fight whoever, they bring names to me, and we weigh them and check them out. Whoever gets me closer to the title shot, whoever.
Speaking of which, I know the USBA title, that advances you in the rankings in the IBF, but, you have another heavyweight in your promotional stable, Dereck Glazkov, who's also moving towards an IBF title shot. And it doesn't seem like Main Events wants to match the two of you together. So, how's that going to work out?
I mean, not really, because they, when Adamek fell out for that fight, I was the first name called, actually, to replace Adamek. But, I'm a professional, and I'm not trying to cash out, not like there was cash out money on the table, but I'm not one of them guys that's just going to take a check. Just, I can beat him up and take the check, No, I mean, listen, I need proper, for this guy Glazkov wasn't a nut, you know what I'm saying? You can't call me on a week's notice and expect me to jump in the ring with an undefeated heavyweight, you know what I'm saying? But, so, of course, we turned that down, but, like I said, we'll weigh the options, I'll fight whoever.
Okay, so since then, I'm hearing that Kathy doesn't seem to want to make the fight now, even though if she did before. Did you hear anything?
No, but it would make sense. You know what I'm saying? You got two top heavyweights. Why nullify your resources by having them kill each other? Or having them fight each other and one beat the other, and then you got to start from scratch with the other. And this only one goes. When right now possibly we can go two different directions and meet sometime later. Understand, this is a business, I've been in this game for 13 years, I understand the business side of it.
Yeah, so you think when they matched him with Adamek, did you think they thought that Adamek was at the end of the line?
Everybody to an extent had to say Adamek was, it seemed like every fight he was getting, something was getting worse and worse for him, because, the Eddie Chambers fight, or after the Vitali fight, then he fights Eddie. Eddie hurts his right hand, and in my eyes, Eddie Chambers beat him with one arm, but, we knew they weren't going to give Eddie that fight, just because. Number two, that's why I jumped on the fight so soon, because, first I wanted revenge, no doubt. I wanted my get back. I wanted to show everybody, hey, I messed up the first fight. I know what my mess ups were. I want to clean it up. And the second fight, I came out there and boxed and pitched a damn near shutout on this guy, a perfect fight to an extent, and I get cheated. So, but then people are looking at that like, wow, Eddie Chambers put it on him. Steve Cunningham comes and whips his ass and gets robbed, and it's like everybody's not going to do it. Like, man, I want Adam McNair because it's like the writing's on the wall. This dude is getting old, So Adam's been in war after war after war. And it's inevitable, So when Glazkov got him, you got a young guy coming in, hungry. He sparred with Adamek. He felt he could do it, and he did it.
Okay. Back to a fight with Povetkin. If it does happen, would you be willing to go to Russia or any place in in Europe for that fight?
I mean, I've done it before, but I mean, right now I'm like, man, listen, if I'm traveling, they're gonna have to pay me, because I know what I just know you fly, especially dealing with Germany or Russia. It's rough, it's hard, man. You know what I mean? And they're not there to let you come in and box this guy 10 rounds and beat him. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes when me and my wife say they already got one judge in the pocket. You always got to think like that. And I've learned, I've actually changed my fights now because of the way the judging is in Germany. Not fight style. It's actually made me train harder to fight harder. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you can't just go over there and box a beautiful boxing show. You got to kick some butt. So if I had to fight Povetkin and go overseas, they're gonna have to pay me, man. I'm serious, because that's a lot. That's a lot on you. And almost every time I went to Germany, except the Huck fight and one of the Hernandez fights, the other times I went to fight in Germany, I caught a cold. I mean, I defended my title against Enad Lucena literally with the flu, and I couldn't call the fight off because it had already been postponed because of my opponent. So I'm like, we're here. You know what I mean? I'm like, I feel all right. I feel good. We can do it. And I defended my title with the flu. But, I mean, it takes a lot out of you flying over there 10 days before the fight or 2 weeks, going here, acclimating to their temp. It's taxing, no doubt.
Yeah, I understand. But, Povetkin, he made multi-millions in his fight with Klitschko, so he should be able to afford it. Anyways, did you get a chance to, while you were, I guess, waiting for your main event to catch any of the undercard, especially the Johnson-Stevens stoppage?
No, we were in the back and we just kept hearing the ohs and the ahs, and people were coming running back like, man, Stevens is getting dealt with. And I'm like, what? Like, they were saying Johnson was really doing his thing. I haven't watched it yet. We were talking about that today at the gym, and I've got to YouTube that, no doubt.
Yeah. A lot of people say it was early. A lot of people think it was legit. So, take a look.
Yeah, no doubt. I heard the way his head moved, the way his head shook, warranted a stoppage. But really, I mean, a ref should take into account, let's get his due the chance. He's up. We got so many seconds left in the last round. I mean, I don't know, man.
Right.
But then you got a ref like Steve Smuger, who kind of understands, like, man, these dudes, this is what they do. So I want to give him a chance. I got knocked down twice. Some people are saying, well, some refs would have waved that off, that second knockdown. And I'm like, well, thank God Steve Smoker isn't that ref.
Yeah, Steve Smoker will definitely let you fight. So we are in the midst of another big fight happening this weekend. We have the rematch of Pac Bradley. What's your prediction for how this fight is going to take place?
I don't know, man, because, Bradley's my take on Bradley, number one, is Bradley has been looked over. He's underrated. I mean, he's beat Manny Pacquiao. He beat Provodnikov. He beat Perez. I mean, gee whiz, that dude should be getting mad props, man, but he's not for some reason. I'm rooting for him to win this fight. But Manny might come out like a beast, and we'll see. But this is another fight I can't call because it's too much behind, Manny, he's got the motivation to beat this guy because he beat him. And then, but then Bradley's got motivation to prove, I beat him the first time I'm going to beat him again. So this is going to be a fight, another one, and I'm just going to sit down and enjoy watching.
Yeah, Manny, like you, he's in the second half of his 30s now. What does the fighter have to do, as they, reach that age barrier to continue on in their career and still be successful?
I mean, it's not like we feel like, oh man, this is the wall, I got to push harder. No, I mean, you got a guy like me. I mean, I'm similar to Bernard Hopkins, and I'm sure Manny Pacquiao, same thing. We stay in the gym. I live in the gym. I've always lived in the gym. I was signed with Don King for 8 years, fighting once a year, but all year round I was in the gym, sparring, working out, you know, like I had a fight coming, and then when fight time came, boom, I'm me, you know, I never gained weight out of shape or no, I don't like being out of shape, you know, so I'm always working out and running or swimming or doing something. So when a guy has a work ethic like that, age doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't mean anything because you're keeping youthful throughout your young years and your old years because of the way you've been working and living.
Yeah, so thoughts on Adrian Broner making it to his 30s?
Making it what?
Making it to his 30s as a successful fighter.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not a fan of Adrian Broner, period. So, that's, you know, I hope him the best. You know what I'm saying? Actually, what I hope him is I hope he respects himself and I don't know, man. I guess that's all selling himself, all that extra buffoonery, and that's just too much for me, man. I stay away from that. I mean, the boy can fight his butt off, you know, and when he fights, I watch. But all that other stuff, I'm cool, man. I'm not a fan at all. I just think he's a decent fighter. I'm not a fan, though.
All right.
Well, I thank you so much for joining us, Steve. You know, thrilling victory. I enjoyed watching you fight. I enjoyed seeing you get your redemption after that crap-ass decision against Adamek. So, you know, keep in touch with us, jump on with us from time to time. Even if you don't have a fight, jump in with us and join the round table with us that we do once a month.
All right, that's what's up with that.
Yeah, follow this man, USS Cunningham on Twitter. You know, he's since main events doesn't have a Toro Gotti anymore. This is as close as it gets. The guy damn near gives me a heart attack every time he fights. But, you know, he gets up and, you know, he pulls it out, man. I'm always rooting for you. You're unbelievable how many times you got off the canvas and finished fights. I mean, I score them for you too, even if the judges don't.
I hear you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Steve, and keep in touch with us. All right.
All right. Thank you for having me. Peace.
All right. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll jump back into the other business of boxing.
Brother Nazim with the Concrete Jungle Boxing Tribe. Shouting out to one of the baddest teams in the game, Bad Culture Radio. Thank you for the good work you guys